Hey, welcome, guys. This is another live training. Now, I really want to take the time and I want to set the stage, be honest with you. So don't expect me to kind of present this in a very professional way. I'm not a salesman. You're definitely not in the car hauling, not the car hauling, the dealership. Let's say I'm not selling cars and anything like that. I really want to take this opportunity and I want to relax and I want to talk to you. And I know you're watching and I know that you really wanted to learn. I have something amazing. And we spend about last 8 months or so to build this. We put heart and soul into this. Something amazing that I want to share with you. I definitely prepared. I have the slides. I want to, go over this. Maybe you're a dispatcher. I know that you might be a dispatcher because you're watching this. Maybe you're interested in becoming a carrier. Maybe you're a broker. Maybe you're a bookkeeper or CPA. You watch this. I sent a lot of emails. I was on social media yesterday posting everywhere, inviting people saying that, hey, I want to do this a demo. This is absolutely amazing AI tool that will help you. But I want to share one of my embarrassed moments. I was talking to a carrier when I was dispatching. I really wanted to work with that carrier because back then I think that carrier had about 45 trucks, give or take, about 50 trucks, let's say. And I was really into his business. Like I want to work with him. And I know he's been in business for, I don't know, maybe 10, 15, 20 years. Like, hey, if I get this carrier, I'll be successful. Now, when I was finally on the call with this, and by the way, this is my embarrassed moment with this carrier, and he's like, okay, what do you have? Like, what are you up to? I'm like, hey, I'm a dispatcher. I'm really like want to work with you. I'm like very new into this game. Like my voice shaking. I'm like, well, what if this guy start asking questions and I don't know, and then obviously that will be like, that's it. It's like I lost him and I never get his business back. And he asked one question that I lost my mind and I froze and I couldn't do anything and I just couldn't respond. And he said, when you have the answer to this question, come back. We might do something. We might do business with you. And I will share that, the question. I prepared slides. Let me go back to slides and then I will share this tool with you. But by the way, real quick, let me show you. This is what it is. Okay, so I'll be live demo. We'll be using this. You'll be absolutely love this tool. It's an amazing. Now let's do this. Let me pull this instead of just talking. Let me go here and then we'll talk about this. Now, imagine you are a dispatcher, and I really want you to put you in my position when I was talking to this carrier. I want you to feel that moment. So imagine if I'm your carrier and you're a dispatcher. Maybe you're a dispatcher, but you also a carrier. Maybe you're dispatching your own trucks. It doesn't matter. You are in the trucking. You feel me. Now you understand what I mean by saying, hey, there's a carrier calling you. So if a carrier calls you right now, imagine your phone rings and then obviously you pick this phone up and then there is your carrier. And he says, hey, which broker made me the most money last quarter? Just imagine that. So don't think that, oh, wow, this is very simple. I could say something like, I don't know, maybe 20, 30,000 or something like that, but it doesn't work that way. So if you really want to make money in dispatching or in trucking, you would be like, hey, you want to be part of the 99%, you can definitely be part of the 99%. But if you want to be part of the 1%, these people make really good money, then listen, I really have something amazing to share with you. So just stick with me. Do you have answer to this question? Like, if I'm your carrier, I've been working with you for about 6 months now, and you're making money, I'm making money. Like, could you answer that question like immediately with numbers? And I'm like over the phone, I'm like waiting for your response. How much, which broker made the most money? Like, what's the reason for a carrier to ask that question? And actually, that was the number one question, asked by the carriers. Like, these are the carriers. Not every carrier will ask this question, but I'm talking about this 1% of the carriers that make really good money so that you can make really good money with them as well. So these carriers will ask these questions. Why? What's the reason for a carrier asking this question? Okay, let's think about this. This carrier thinks like, hey, 80% of my revenue comes from 20% of the brokers that I work with. He doesn't want to deal with all the brokers out there, but he wants to build a relationship with brokers. And he's like, hey, I made, let's say, $800,000. These $800,000 came from 20% of the brokers. Pretty sure 80-20 principle is everywhere. So what he's trying to do is avoid 80% of the brokers that we basically serve these brokers and we make 20% of the revenue. Imagine if you made $1 million. 80% of the revenue came from 20% of the brokers. Name it, whatever those brokers are. Okay, it could be a mega broker, Safe Robbins, TQL, whatever, XPO Logistics, Landstar, whatever. And obviously, they're like 20% of those brokers that gives you the 80% of the revenue. You make the most money with these brokers. Well, logically makes sense to pay attention to these brokers and maybe grow these brokers, right? Build relationship, maybe get more of these brokers, if you will, or these types of brokers. Now, and then you do work, for example, you made 20% of the revenue, which is like $200,000 off of $1 million gross revenue, let's say, and you made $200 from 80% of the brokers. Like, these are people really noisy, you serving them, but you're making less money with them. The logical question is, why? Why should I work with these people? Well, if I can focus on, with these 20% of the people, and these people give me the 80% of the revenue. That was the question number one. Like, which broker made the most money last quarter? Let's play a scenario. If I'm your carrier and I ask this question right now, would you be able to give me an answer for this question? Which broker made me the most money last quarter? Just think about that. Even if you're a carrier right now watching this, if you can't answer this question, you're losing money. And no wonder a lot of carriers at the end of the year, specifically November, December, they'll be like sitting at the Starbucks talking about how much, they made and how much money they have in the bank account. Close to zero. Most of the carriers that I talk to, they'll be like, at the end of the year, they will be like, man, this is a single owner operator. This will be like, we're almost there. we're getting there. Just bear with me. But I really want to share this with you. It's very, very important to understand this. And again, like I'm having fun with this live stream, be honest with you. I'm not rushing it. Hey, if you want to watch the replay, you can definitely do that. But I know you're watching and I'm trying my best to help you. So, and they'll be like, okay, I made $200,000 or $300,000. I'm like, but strange enough that when I log into my bank account, like I don't have money to even pay for my trucks or for my trailers. Like I can't even afford my basic, expenses. But you made $200,000. You made $300,000. Like, where that money? Like, it's gone. But where? How so? We'll be talking about those. Now, the second important question, and then there's two more, and then we'll go into something amazing. What about this one? What's my average rate per mile with you? And again, we were playing a scenario, right? I'm your dispatcher. I'm your carrier, and you're my dispatcher. And I'm asking this question: what's my average rate per mile with you? And which lanes am I most profitable on? And imagine the carrier that you really want to work with, and your business depend on this carrier, and then he comes to you and asks this question. He says, what's my average rate per mile with you? Like, Jason, you're watching me right now. Elena, you're watching me right now. Just answer me, right? Like, what's the average rate per mile? And then in which lanes am I most profitable on? Why? Well, because I want to focus on those lanes and I want to make more of those lanes, if you will. Now, I just go real quick, but then do you know, like, top of your head, can you answer this question? If you can, more power to you. Awesome. But 99% of the dispatcher, they won't. They'll be like, man, I don't know, but I need to, check my numbers and see. But which lanes? Man, I don't know. Maybe East Coast to West Coast? No, definitely not. But I will show you how I would respond to this question, and I'll be live showing you. Basically, this tool will show you your best lanes, your profitable rate per miles, and everything in between. It's here. I'll be showing you. Just bear with me. Now, this one, it's like tax season, right? I need a breakdown all of my loads from last year from my tax guy. And actually, I was asked when I was dispatching, one of my owner operators, Andrew, I remember him. If he's watching right now, Andrew, I still remember you. He said, Kamal, and he says, like, I really need all of my loads for last year. I'm like, why? And he's like, because I have a bookkeeper or, tax guy, or, I'll be doing my taxes and this guy needs this. And I'm like, okay, this is where my, life goes into trouble. And I will be like over the weekends, basically spending or wasting my time just, in my email, pulling hundreds of those, rate confirmations, and they're like cancel loads, whatever. It's nightmare. I don't want to be there, but that's what happened. And he's like, please, I need those. Now we have those questions, but that was purposely designed. We'll come back to those questions. Please keep those in mind, because I will ask this, question again while I will be showing this tool right here. It's amazing. So from copy paste hell to one click heaven. This actually, it came one of my, friends. We were sitting and, going over the numbers, and he's like, man, it's a nightmare. Imagine you have Excel spreadsheet and you have on your, screen your rate, rate confirmation, and then you basically picking that name of the broker and putting inside your Excel spreadsheet. Even when I think about even this manual data entry process, like physiologically, my mind now shifted. I'm like, man, it's crazy. I don't even want to talk about this. It's crazy. It's just, imagine taking all the data points from rate confirmations, copying and pasting into Excel spreadsheet. And then you trying your best to design it. Then you wanted to add, I don't know, graphs or something like that. And you realized you're sitting right in front of the computer for about 3-4 hours, and only 6 or 7 rate confirmations. You pull that data and it's gone, those 3 hours. Sometimes people spend hours, days to pull those rate confirmations. Now let's move on. This is actually a screenshot of my email right now. I can share my screen, no problem with you. So this is your life right now. If you're a dispatcher, if you're not a dispatcher, this will be your life. Just pay attention. If you really want to speed up your game, this is going to be your life. But if you're a carrier right now, this is your life. Why? Because I know I was carrier and I'm a dispatcher. I know. So you have thousands of emails sitting inside your Gmail account, and you have a lot of rate confirmations. It's there. That's actually the screenshot of one of my emails that I have, specifically for my trucking company, all the rate confirmations that I received from brokers. So let's move on. What's the process? The manual process is actually, maybe your screen right now looks like this, right? It's from here, going into your Gmail account, typing in the search bar, rate confirmations. And you see that there are a ton of rate confirmations sitting there. Then what you do, you start downloading one by one. Then you realize they're duplicates. Then you realize that there's some canceled, rate confirmation. Then you realize that, hey, there's some, detention added. And then now one rate confirmation becomes, I don't know, 13. Back and forth, working with the broker, and you don't know what was the final version of the rate confirmation. Then obviously what do, you start organizing. I want to see how many rate confirmations I have. Now, what's the next process? Basically, from email, you're pulling into your computer, downloading it, and then going one by one, opening each rate confirmation. And then you're pulling into, like, basically taking those, data and putting into the the Excel spreadsheet. And I don't know, many carriers and dispatchers, they'll do exact same thing, but then I don't know what would be the reason for them pulling that data and putting into Excel spreadsheet. Like, what would be the reason? Like, are you sending this to your carrier, or carrier, hey, I want to have this just in case if I wanted to refer back to this, I want to come back and see how many loads I did or how much I'm, money making, whatever. But most of the carriers and dispatchers, this is the process. If you're not a dispatcher, this will be the process, because we receive emails from brokers and all of those rate confirmations are inside the email. Now, so here's the deal. Let's talk about, actually calculating your time, because I was doing it. A lot of my friends were doing it. A lot of my students doing it. And actually, there is a research. It takes about 15 minutes, or give or take. For some people, it might take up to, 30 minutes to just take from one single rate confirmation and then putting into the Excel spreadsheet. It take up to 30 minutes. But hey, if you're fast typer, whatever, if you're English like mine, fourth language, then obviously you'll be like reading it. There's typo, then we realize that, hey, you made a mistake. It should have been 2016 rate confirmation, but you entered 2025, because I did that. I remember I was pulling old rate confirmations when I was carrier. And then I'm like, I'm in 2025, right? But then my rate confirmations back in 2015, 2016, 2017. And I'll like extract all the data. And then I realized that, oh, wow, instead of 2016 or 2018, I put 2025. And there's a typo. There is a broker name. There's weird names, obviously, then email, whatever, nightmare. So daily rate confirmations, about like 10 rate cons. So if we talking about averaging 15 minutes per rate confirmation, we're spending about 2.5 hours. Just think about that. 2.5 hours. Weekly, it's about like 50 rate cons, almost 13 hours. Watch this. Yearly, it's close to 3,000, but let's say it's 2,500, 2,500 rate cons, and give it or take. Some people do more, some people do less. That's what I see. So 625 hours, 15 plus work weeks. Have you thought about this? 15 plus work weeks, that equals to nearly 4 months of full-time work. 4 months. Think about it. So what about costing? Let's talk about cost, and then we start talking about domain, obviously. So reality, that's what's costing you. 625 hours per year. It's close to, I would say, if you're doing about $25 per hour, you just, how much you're making per month, you can divide by hours and you can pull that number. And if you're making about 25, you spending, what I would say, wasting about $15,000. If it's like $50, most dispatchers will make close to $50 per hour. Maybe you're a CPA, maybe you're a broker, maybe you're a carrier, maybe you're a bookkeeper. Just if you're making $50 per hour, then it's $30,000. Imagine $30,000 each year. That's what's costing you. And one of the most important document or piece of document inside trucking, rate confirmation. Don't you agree? If you have questions, please let me know. We'll have, Q&A. But moving fast, What is it? Well, actually, late nights, some people will be like, hey, they will have day job, maybe dispatching, whatever, running the business. And at night, they're like data entry. Go do research. Go ask ChatGPT, whatever. You'll realize people spend days, months for data entry, thousands, millions, billions spending on the data entry. Go do research and you will realize that this is a serious problem and not many people paying attention to this. So you're lucky. Now, what about the mistakes? As I said, like what typo, what single, miss matched, or let's say you made $4,000 and you put $400, or maybe you put $40,000. Now your analytics messed up. So it's like, what about burnout? Just imagine the stress you will have. Now, I think the biggest one here is the opportunity cost. What you could do with that 4 months of work, like actually you're losing a lot of opportunity if you're focusing on just this boring, soul-killing data entry. And if you're not a dispatcher, you'll be like, man, I never thought about this, that this is the huge problem. I thought, hey, if I get an email from broker, it's there if I wanted to, and I can just go there and I type and I'll pull up. Yeah, that's what most dispatchers will think in carriers, but that quickly adds up. You have one owner operator, then you get a carrier with 10, 15, 20 trucks. I was talking to, by the way, I was recently traveling in Uzbekistan. I was talking to these guys. These people like doing hundreds of loads, per day. Imagine that. So there should be a solution like, hey, if you have one owner operator, even then you do have a problem, but then that owner operator can quickly, add up. You can get another owner operator. Now this guy does, 3, 4, 5 loads per week. And then another one does, 4 or 5. And then you get a carrier with 10, 15 trucks. Now you are in a mess. So, and then obviously this is crazy. Tax season panic. I love this. Now, why? I remember my CPA called me and said, hey, send me all rate cons from 2024. Send all my rate cons 2024. I'm like, well, it should be somewhere in my email. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, man, more than 600 rate cons I have, thousands of emails, and it's basically, and there's no organization. Like I'm disorganized. I don't know. Like I'm not using tools like this. And I'm like, that's it. That's the end game for me. So let's keep going, and then I'll be sharing something cool with you. So, and this is where the idea came. Why we're typing. There should be a process like, hey, I take that rate confirmation and upload, and that's it. I have within seconds all of my data right in front of me. And I know maybe you have some, important questions, and please do, if you have those questions, let me take those. This data already exists on your PDF because your broker sends you the PDF format, right? So it's already there. Instead of you typing, doing the manual work, maybe you have some tools out there that maybe does this, but you'll compare to this tool and then we'll take it from there. Now, you upload the rate confirmation. You wait about like 30 seconds, maybe less. Some rate confirmations have multiple pages, like 4, 5, 6. But averaging what I see based on the data that I have, based on my own data, it's about like 3 pages that I have. So let's call it 2 pages average. But most rate confirmations you will get is just 1 page. So it takes about like 30 seconds, sometimes more if you have more, obviously, pages, and that's it, done. It's right there, right in front of you. But that's not it. It's not about just extracting all that data and it's there and you quickly download or download the CSV file and send it to your carrier or to your bookkeeper or CPA. But I really into, can I use this as a digital platform? This is my basically data center. This is where I look at the data and I'm like, oh wow, I never thought that Gene's brokerage company is the most profitable brokerage company for my business. I never thought that I moved a lot of loads from Nationwide Logistics. I love them. I work with them. And like, man, I made the least rate per mile with them. Why am I, still continuing working with them? Just an example. I will show you the real data. Now, so this is the process, and that's actually the tool I'll be showing you right now. We'll do real quick live demo. I'll show it to you. And then if you have questions, if you just, let them, your burning questions, obviously. And then I will take those questions and we'll take it from there. Just basically drag and drop. AI will do the extraction, all the cool stuff. You can download the data if you wanted to. But most importantly for me is just using that data, looking at visually and like, okay, that's, what I wanted to focus. Now, this is what I'm going to do. Now, let's go back to the tool so that I can show it to you. So when you log in, obviously this is, what you will see. You will have a dashboard. Real quick, I will show it to you what I have, and then we'll take it from there. So this is a dashboard when you log in. There is a free version. Obviously, you can test it out. I'll put the link below this video. You can check it out. Just click it. There's like 5 free versions you can upload and then play around. If you like it, obviously you can upgrade if you wanted to. If not, who cares? So now dashboard, and obviously here is quick, getting started guide how to use this tool. Obviously it's basically step-by-step showing you what to do and how to do it. It's very straightforward. Maybe you're thinking, man, I'm not tech savvy, but neither I. So it's like, this tool was built for people, they're not tech savvy. It's just, if you can just drag and drop, if you can do that, if you ever used internet, let's say, you can definitely do that. It's easy peasy. The only thing is that I think the important aspect of it, hey, can you read these numbers and get something out of it? And I made very simple so you can understand. It's right in front of you. And by the way, all of these numbers, they are real company numbers. These are the total revenue, total numbers. I uploaded about, give it or take 200 rate confirmation so you can see it. I'll be talking about this average rate per mile. There is a story about this. I touched, I think about like a couple weeks ago, just a little bit about this rate per mile. I think this was the failing moment for me, or I would say the epiphany, or you can say this was the aha moment for me, why I failed my trucking. That number, it's there. I want to share that story with you. It's amazing. So total miles, you will see right off the bat, total top 5 brokers. These are the people made you the most money. For me, it's Global Trans, based on the rate confirmations that I have. So number 1 is a Global Trans, Gene's brokerage. And then we have a DSV, Road Transport, Nationwide, Landstar. There is a Landstar. I know some of you don't like Landstar, but hey, that's what it is. Now, so on the right side, obviously, you have the best performing lanes you're looking at. And remember, when we started this live stream, and then I was asking those questions, we'll get back to those questions. The best performing lanes, and we'll be talking about this. Very important. Now, we talked about getting started in the company profile. This is where you will enter your information, your company information, all of that. Let me go there real quick and I will show it to you. Basically, this is like your company address. If you wanted to, we can definitely do that. Or if you're a dispatcher, you can take your carrier's information, you can plug it in here and you can take it from there. And like, okay, so what's the fleet information? Like how many trucks they have, what would be the the market they're in, right? Is it the drive-in, reefer, flatbed, step deck, power only, box truck, hot shot, other, whatever you can specify, right? Or you can come back up here and then you can click and you can add main lanes. For example, if I were you, or let's say if I'm one of your carriers, we're on the phone and like, hey, what's your main lanes? For example, I would say something like, we're moving from Atlanta, Georgia to Houston, Texas. That's the lane. And we're coming back from Houston, Texas back to Atlanta. Now, you can put up here and then the financial information. This is the cost per mile. We talked about a lot about cost per mile, but know this. Yesterday, I was talking to a carrier. I swear to God, this is where I fail my carriers, be honest with you. Like, how? So when you like, okay, so if they're looking for a dispatcher and you ask this, please don't ask this question. There should be a better way asking this question. And I'm like, what's your CPM? I'm assuming that these people know their cost per mile. Why am I assuming this? I didn't know. Like when I was carrier, I didn't know. Like, what's the reason for me to ask this question? And I'm asking this question anyway. Maybe I want to, I don't know, look like I know what I'm doing, maybe. And this is where your carrier will be like, what do you mean cost per mile? Well, there should be a cost for every mile you drive. Okay, why it's important? Well, you asked me the average rate per mile or how much I can do for your business, the rate per mile. So if I don't know your cost per mile, that means if I don't know how much it's costing you to run your business, how am I going to make money? Like, I don't know what would be the rate per mile. And you will, hear this classic, I would say, or a popular response by carriers saying that, well, just book $4 and up, something like that, or book, I don't know, $4.5 per mile every single time. He'll be like, well, it's like flashing. It's, man, run away. That's the trigger point. Like, run away from this carrier. Why? Well, because it's impossible every single time book lows $4 or $4.50 or whatever. But there should be an average number. I can definitely work out if I know your cost per mile. That means here with my business, it's $1.80. That's what's costing me. Or I would say that what was costing me back in 2018, 2015, 2016, 2017, more specifically. Why? Well, because this is where I started my business, like trucking business. I didn't know what I'm doing. Most of you watching, you just started your business this way. Let me buy a truck, let me hire a driver, and let's make money, right? That's how we started. All carriers watching me right now, or the dispatchers watching me right now, they will be like, what? Yeah, that's how carriers start their businesses. If they don't have money, I didn't have money. I just borrow money from my friends and families, and then they're like, hey, I want to start my trucking business. I want to be a millionaire. Boom, within 3 years, give it or take. And obviously, COVID hit. That's it. I gave up. Right? That was a nightmare. That was the worst decision that I ever made. It's just like buying trucks. I want to make millions, and then not knowing numbers. Boom, you crushed. That's it. Gone. Now, $1.80 as a cost per mile, and then obviously target profit margin. We can put it if you want to really go into details. I really want to go into details. Profit margins, how much they wanted to make, so I can see that percentage or the cents per mile, how much they're making. You can definitely do that. And you save and you go into the upload. So since this is the bread and butter, if you will, this is the main function or main feature for this tool. But hey, if you can take a look at the right top corner, this is specifically for my account, but this will be live for you guys as well. What is it? Okay. Now, auto on means you can connect your Gmail. We'll come back to this, drag and drop, feature. But this auto on means my email is connected to my app. And what it does is on the back end, every 30 minutes, you can switch every 5 minutes. You can do, if you're getting like If there's a volume game, then you can definitely switch between 5 minutes to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But for me, 30 minutes, it's fine. What it does is if I receive an email, this tool automatically pulls that rate confirmation, scans it, and pulls all the information. It plugs here. When I log in, I'll get the notification. I'll come back here and I'm like, oh, they're like 13, 14, or 15 lows that I need to take a look. I'll just quickly scan them, meaning visually, take a look. That's it. And push them into the analytics so I can get more data. So that's what it is. But the import history, so there is a pro plan. Obviously, there's a free plan, pro plan, and then a business plan. And the pro plan, we have 30 days. That means you can go back 30 days and you can, pull that history of the rate confirmations. It will scan your Gmail, pull everything. And yes, if you have different types of PDFs, it will just ignore. If you have duplicates, it will show you that, hey, there are like number of duplicates, and it won't affect your data. It will just discard, obviously. So it will delete automatically. It pulls the fresh data. Now, if you have a business plan, then you can go back 12 months. That was one of the reasons why I shared, like, hey, I need all the rate confirmations from 2024. I'm like, what? 2024, this is like, I need at least 24 weeks to pull those rate confirmations. Okay, now that's the main functionality, is you basically extracting your data seamlessly from your email. But hey, if you like, I'm looking for like easy peasy process, I will show you right now. That's what's happening, and I will show you at the same time like how it catches the duplicates. I will show it to you. Once you do that, obviously now you have all the analytics. You will it will show how many loads you have. You can store these, and as you can see, like PDF on this side is, if you can see, if you click on it, it will basically let me get here real quick and I'll show it to you. Well, sensitive data I'm not going to share, but then you will see it, the copy of exact same rate confirmation. Now, let's do real quick test. I will show it to you live, and then you can take a look. And obviously in the settings is very important. The reason why I'm showing you this is because maybe you will have, as you can see, the Gmail account is connected. Maybe you have team members. I do have team members. You can manage your team members from here. You can definitely do that. Basically adding, removing team members. You can add your CPA, you can add your dispatcher, you can add whatever, the guy who does all this, right? Then you can have the team members, no problem. So now coming back to the settings, as I said, this is where you connect your Gmail, and then obviously you can toggle on and off whatever the notifications, obviously your billing, and then your account. Now, the support, it's there. I'm not going into details showing you the support. Everything is here. You can log in. You can see, even if you're with the free account, you can have access to this. You can, watch tutorials, contact support, do whatever you want. Okay, cool. Let's come back to upload, and then I will show you how to read this analytics. There's some amazing, stuff that I want to, share with you. Quickly, let me see. So there is a question. This is your TMS? This is not a TMS. TMS is more robust tool, but this is an app, or we can say that web app, that does particularly or specifically one job, is basically pulling the rate confirmation. And then it's just giving you all the data you want. But the TMS is basically although we do have that project working on with my team members, this TMS is specifically for dispatches. All the TMS right now, I'm glad you asked this question. The TMS specifically people design, or these like tech companies, whatever, they design for brokers. I don't know. Maybe brokers have money. That may be the reason, or that might be the reason why people do that. But carriers tend to, I don't know, focus on adding more trucks than running their numbers and making strategic decisions based on the numbers. That's, what I say. And this is like, I'm guilty. When I was a carrier, I'm like more into buying more trucks, hiring people. And I thought, hey, without paying attention to these numbers, this is how I can make money. And obviously I failed it. That was the main reason why I failed it. Why? Well, because I didn't know my numbers. I didn't even know my cost per mile. If people ask me like, what's your cost per mile? I'm like, what do you mean? I don't know. Like, I need to take a look. But that's what it is. So it's not a TMS. Rather, this is just a web app, or you can say it's just a SaaS or a software does one job, extracting data, the rate confirmation, and give you the most, enjoyable or more friendly way of showing you the data so you can read it and make important decisions. Now, so let's come back to analytics, and I'll show you how it's done. Now, on the top, you will see on the top right corner, you can obviously do 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or you can even take specific date. But here, take a look like generate report. I really fast, I want to talk about this generate report. I had a dispatcher, and one of the reasons why I really liked him when I was working, like I had about 4 trucks, my own trucks, and I was dispatching about 25 trucks, and I was working with one of the independent freight dispatchers. This is where the idea came from, like being an independent freight dispatcher. Although this guy was working remotely, but I considered him like independent freight dispatcher. The only difference was he didn't have the LLC. He was just remotely working for me. So generating report. This is where this guy, the dispatcher, was working, with me, and obviously he was doing manual work back then. It was putting into Excel spreadsheet, and he knew like Excel. Still, I don't know, but he did. Like, it looked very, very awesome, and he put my logo at the top, and he said, "Listen, Kamal, this is what we made in the last 45 days. This is a report that I will be sending you every month. Hey, if you really like me to send these reports every 3 months, I can definitely do that. You just tell me when do you want to receive." What I realized, by the way, if you really planning to do this, don't send like monthly. Carriers tend to, ignore this, maybe, I don't know. But then what you can do quarterly, right? 3 times, 4 times per year if you wanted to, but every quarter you can definitely send, even if your carriers, don't read it, but send them anyway. They kind of, take a look, and they'll be like, oh, wow, like it gives them sense of like, we're doing something, right? Hey, there is somebody that really takes care of my business. He really knows what he's doing. So one click of a button. And again, since we're specifically focusing on the, uploading a very simple way of extracting the data, but this will be another video where I'll be like showing you each time when we release these features. Obviously, we'll be doing more in-depth tutorial or video, if you will. Now, one click of a button, you will pull everything if you wanted to, or 30 days, specific dates, and then there will be like report. Maybe you can say to your carrier, maybe one of your carriers, that was actually one of the situations, one of my students, he's a dispatcher actually. So his carrier was very frustrated. I'm not making money with you. I'm not making money with you. Well, okay, here's the report. See what I did for you? So this is how much money made for you. This is the average rate per mile that I did for you. Like, that's the report. That's the real data. Take a look. Instead of just dry argument with the carrier saying that, hey, I was doing everything so that you be profitable. Like, if you make money, I make money, right? So I'm better. I'm like, no, it's show them the data, show them the numbers, send them a report saying, hey, look at what I have. You can share a screen or, do a quick Loom video and send it to them saying, hey, this is how much money I made for you. And this is the report. Look at your cost per mile and look at the rate per mile that I was pulling. Right? So let me do this, and then I'll be going into broker performance, lane analysis, commodity insight, load types. and a geographic analysis. Very, awesome stuff. But let me do this. Let me delete one of the rate confirmations that I have right in front of you. Let's say, let's Canyon Logistics. Let's delete Canyon Logistics. Okay. And we'll go and then I'll upload Canyon Logistics. So now Canyon Logistics is gone. Now, as you can see, it reflected already. So what I'll do, as you can see it right now, is total number of loads 203. Now, what I'll do on my back end, give me a quick second. What I'll do this, I'll go into the rate confirmations. I don't think you see that, but I'll upload. I'll go to upload, and I'll go and open my rate confirmation, and I'll pull it as for some reason, I don't know, for security purposes, I think, or the reasons you don't see it, but see how it goes blue, but I don't know. I'm dragging in and dropping into this so that you can see it. This is the Canyon Logistics real rate confirmation. I dropped it, right? So, and again, it will take some time if there is a different format or if there are, let's say, multiple pages. And it's also looking into the data to see if there is a duplicate. And it will just sit down and relax. You can upload up to 30, but I was talking to my team members and I said, listen, why don't we just, pull, let's say 50 or 100 at a time? You just have the folder, you just like drag and drop into, this platform, and then it does the job. You just go drink coffee, whatever, come back in 3 minutes, and that's what you have. Now, boom. So what you have right now, what happened? So we drag and drop into this platform or the app. What app did is actually the AI extracted all the data. And again, AI basically scanned your entire rate confirmation. It pulled everything, the name of the broker, the load number, the lane, and the rate, the miles, and again, the rate per mile, the weight, and it gave you what type of the load is this? Is it the full load? Is it the partial load? And what was the commodity? Created industrial equipment. You can delete, you can edit, but imagine like you have, and again, see it says like manual, as you can see up here, it's like a manual drag and drop. But if you're doing importing, it will show you that, hey, this is like email scan, right? We scanned your email and it will have the email icon for organizational purposes, if you will. Now, so there is somebody from, okay, cool. We'll just close this. There you go. Somebody trying to, I think, comment from Facebook. Cool. So now there is a future coming in. It's very important. And I think this is one of the very important. Let me talk about this. The email list. Why? Specifically right now, when you look at the load boards, it's mess, right? You don't have really, I don't know, you don't have good paying loads, if you will. So what people do right now, and again, when I'm talking about this data-driven 1% of the dispatcher, this is how they do. This is how they get their loads and get their business up and running and helping their carriers. They have a list of brokers. And if you're a carrier watching right now, maybe you are a dispatcher. Now, if you don't have, email lists, if you're a broker, I'm assuming that you do have email lists, a list of, carriers, but email list is everything in your business. If you don't have a list of emails, and most of you, or maybe some of you, I'm assuming most of you came from the email list that I have with the people who are interested in trucking, these tools, or more specifically dispatching. I have a list of, people in my database where I wanted to go live, and I'll just send them an email. So you receive an email and then like you notified, and that's why you're here and watching. So what we're working on, obviously behind the scenes, is adding this email from the broker or the company information from the broker. It will be extracting data for you. If you're a carrier, it will pull the the shipper's information if you're a carrier. So if you are, let's say, dispatcher, you can get the carrier information and the broker information, obviously. So it's very useful for dispatchers slash carriers. Obviously, this is where you will have all the data for your brokers. And remember, we talked about this: 80% of the revenue comes from 20% of the brokers. Your job is to identify, obviously, and it's very easy if you have these types of tools. Now, let me see what I have in terms of, can I get DAT access with just a DOT? Okay, we'll come back to this. We're not talking about the DAT, but we'll definitely talk about DAT access. So now, what's next? It's just like you pushing this data into analytics. There you go. One load saved to analytics. Now this is the juicy part, I think. That's what I can say. Now, now you have all the data here. Now let's play with this, data. It's like you have all the brokers listed on the left. As you can see, there are more than 200, brokers with their loads and load numbers and lanes. Now we can do all sorts of things. We can just track and see or build, let's say, the best paying lanes for your carriers. If you're a dispatcher watching this, you can definitely use this tool to build a lane. I'll show it to you. And basically all the rate confirmations, it's scanned and it gives you the like, hey, this is the top rate per mile lane. Like you need to focus on that one. We're also working on the heat map. This is where you will see. Actually, we did, had a heat map, but then one of my mentors, he told me that, hey, like you don't need to have a lot of features, like let the people use it and they will, ask. If they ask them, you can definitely do that. But hey, I like it. I really want to see what is it? It's what I was trying to say. It's if you really like, if I release all the features right now, you'll be like, man, you're frustrated. Like there should be a specific feature that you really want. It's just data extracting feature. That's all, right? And then obviously the amazing aspect is like when you have all the data, now what, right? Now we play the game. Now I want to see, based on, like, you don't need to do anything. Like this tool does everything. There's a logic behind, there is a like algorithm behind everything. It does it for you. Broker performance. Now you look at the broker performance, and obviously this is a very simple way of showing you, but we will get the grading, system, here. You will get like what would be the average. We will be pulling some data to show you for a carrier saying, okay, this is risky dispatcher, or this is like a double broker, or this or that. May they become already double broker or whatever. Like we just give you the clean data, if you will. So global trends, total miles we did with them about 20,000. We did 13 loads. This is the like time frame, like 3 months, 4 months, like give or take. It's about 6.4%. Of the total. So, and we look at the revenue, 30,286. Average rate per mile we did with them is $1.57. The reason why we have top performance, like broker performance, because we made the most money from this broker. But hey, we made the most money from this broker. Now, look at this number right here. Remember I said my cost per mile is $1.80. No wonder why I failed trucking. So look at this number, it's $1.57. That's the average, by the way, rate per mile. Well, brokers, by the way, let me share this with you. I don't know, not many people share this, but I will share this with you. Brokers will give you like good rate, then I will track you and I'll be okay, so let me give you, if they give you, let's say, $3 for this load, next time they will give you $2.80 or something like that. They know their average, so be careful. So very, very important, so you understand this. Now, $1.57. Now my tool tells me that, hey, although you made $30,000, a little over $30,000 from this global trends, and again, this is actual data. This is my data. I'm not sharing anybody else's data. This is my data. So it's like global trends. We made $30,000, but hey, average rate per mile I have with them is $1.57. Remember 80-20 principle? 80% of the revenue comes from 20% of the brokers. So then 20% of the revenue comes from 80% of the brokers. Now, I really wanted to work with this 80% of the brokers that I want to kind of clean up a little bit and then focus on this 20% that gives me the 80%. That's the game here. Like GIN's brokerage, I still remember. It was amazing opportunity working, with this company. Now, again, I did, and again, the number of loads that I have with them, I do have more, but I haven't uploaded those. I have hundreds of rate confirmations when I was a carrier, when I was in obviously dispatching other people's trucks. So now I did 6 loads and I made close to $19,000 with this brokerage. Okay. And look at it. I did 2.29. So if I did 2.29 with this broker and Global Trends, I did 30,000, but average rate per mile was $1.57. Did I lost money or I was losing money? Just, you do the math, right? I'd rather specifically focus on Jen's Brokerage Inc. because although I made less money with them, well, compared to 13 loads, right? did only 6 loads with this brokerage company. Okay, let's move on. Now, DSV Road Transport Inc. I did 3 loads with them, and again, I uploaded 3 loads. Maybe they're more. The more data you supply, obviously, the more interesting it becomes. Okay. Now I made 12,000 with them. Nationwide Logistics, I made more than 9,000. Landstar, and again, I did a lot of loads, hundreds of loads. But then I do have how many? 5 loads. Based on 5 loads, and again, maybe you need like 5 or 10 loads. That's it. Now you can dictate, and now you can see, right, what's happening. Man, I did 5 loads. I drove, and again, look at the miles. So if I did 5 loads and I drove, let's say 3,000, little over 3,000 miles. Take a look up here. Can you see it? Let's see. There you go. So now, cool. I think you see this screen. There you go. Okay, cool. Now, Set Logistics, some of you dispatchers out there looking at this, Trinity Logistics, I love them. There was a guy really, really helpful. So look at Landstar, and again, I did 5 loads. Look at the miles. I Set Logistics, by the way, I did 2 loads and I did close to 4,000 miles. I made 2.39 average miles, and I made almost $9,000 with these people. But again, 2 loads and close to 4,000. On the other hand, Landstar, I did 5 loads or uploaded 5 rate confirmations. Again, I did 3,100, means 3,331 miles. That tells you something, right? So you must read this. It's very important. Like, hey, am I making money with Landstar, like let's say nationwide, or there's specific regions that Landstar focuses? Should I focus on that lane as well, so to speak, right? KCH Transport, okay, close to 2.6. I don't see anything that I have close to. Okay, I do have Done Logistics. I did 1 load with them and I made more than $4,000, and I did 3,025 cents per mile. So, okay, I did 1 load and it's actually close to 1,300 miles. I'm assuming maybe this load is from Atlanta to Houston somewhere, or Georgia to Texas area. Well, what am I doing now? I wanted to focus more on Done Logistics. I wanted to call them and say, man, we made the most amount of money with you when it comes to average rate per mile. Very important. Now, enough for the brokers. Let's come back and do the lane analysis. This is the game that dispatchers wanted to play. Okay, look at all of my lanes. You can see most of the lanes you will see, like Texas, Georgia, right? So that's like 90%. And remember, on this channel, I will always saying that, hey, I was focusing on, when I was a kid, I was focusing on more specifically Georgia, Texas. You can make a lot of money by focusing in these areas. So this is how you build lanes. Now, when I have all of these, now look at red. Now, this is where I'm losing money. This lanes, when you look at the green, you will see that this is where I'm making money. Now, total lanes, I have 191 based on 200 rate confirmation, or 204 rate confirmation to be exact. Now, most frequent loads, I do see Carrollton, Georgia, Las Vegas. Well, why? Well, there's only 3 loads. Not enough data for me to say, well, it's like that's the most frequent lane. But for purpose of this video, it's just order training, I would say. This where you will see most frequent lane. Now, high paying lane, it will pull up and it will show you and will say, hey, that's, well, maybe we did a quick, it's Fender Springs to Atlanta. Maybe it's like, I don't know, 50 miles or 60 miles or something like that. Maybe there's a broker paid me, I don't know, really good money. It was a rush order, maybe, called me and said, hey, Kamal, we need your truck. We have this order like real quick. And that's what we made. Now, most revenue came from this, for example, lane. Now, commodity insights. Commodity is, if you ask dispatchers right after this, live stream, what even carrier, you can say, I really wanted to ask the commodity, what do you haul the most? Okay, what would be the commodity? And if that person or the carrier, if it's in flatbed, they might say something like, well, we're moving heavy duty machineries or something like that. Well, that's not saying anything to me, like doesn't make any sense. Well, why? Well, heavy duty machineries, man, that's what we haul. No, I really wanted to see what type of loads you're moving so that I can focus on specific brokers. So if you know that maybe I have a broker that they pay really good money for moving or hauling containers, for example. I do know a couple of brokers that they pay really good money. They make less money, but it's a volume game. It's like very rare to work with those people, and they'll be like working with I would say qualified carriers or established or relationship build. I would say the carriers, then they will preferred carriers, if you will, and then they will give those loads to them. They make less money, but they will make you happy as a dispatcher. They will pay the most amount of money for for the containers. So if I know the commodity, I can help you with with the brokers, right? Scaffold, we have our truck, coils. There you go, right? But most brokers obviously put like FAK, which is freight all kinds. Forklift, we moved a lot of forklifts, machineries, Caterpillar. Okay, cool. Again, machinery, tractor, building products. Okay, cool. So now you make your own decisions based on the data. Now let's talk about the load type. Load type is very important. Why? I was thinking that if I make partial, then I will make a lot of money. Well, obviously, I did 99 total loads in their partials. I made close to 162,000. Again, not the entire year, obviously, 3-4 months of work. And okay, I made this much money. And look at the average per load that I did. It's 1,600. Average rate per load, 1,600. Average rate per mile is $1.68. Look at my numbers. My cost per mile is $1.80 when I was a carrier. Imagine that, like partial loads, that's the game. Well, if played well, you can definitely make money. And again, unknown, we're working on this one. This is where brokers don't specify, is it the, full load or partial load? And obviously you have the ability to, put some, work into it saying, hey, this is a partial load. It's less than 15,000 or something like that. But unknown is close to like 35,000. And again, $1.68. Now, here's the deal. With the full load, I thought full load, I'm not making money with the full load. Full load, no. Well, it turns out 87 loads that we did. Total revenue is more than $200,000, and average per load is $2,330. Like compared to partial load, now make your own decisions. Should I focus on partial game? Partials, definitely, there is a game to be played. You can definitely make more money with partials if you know how to play. But these like rate confirmation when I started dispatching, and then obviously when I was new, but then later on I have a lot of rate confirmation I didn't upload because when I focused really on partial game and I mastered it, this is where I realized that, man, this is where I'm making really good money with partial loads. So we'll talk about partial loads. If you have questions, let me know. We'll take it from there. Now it turns out that for loads, that's my game. Geographic analysis, you will see that top pickup states. No wonder Texas, Georgia. Remember I said Georgia, Texas, Texas, Georgia. That was my lane, and this is how I built my lane. And then top delivery states, and again more than 104 loads in Texas. And again, this is where you will be like, also can pull some data, and you can be like, okay, what would be the heavy inbound states or outbound states, and you can play around, and then you can use tools like market conditions, and you can make a lot of money with this. Not many people doing this, be honest with you. Like, be sure that not many people doing this. Not many people using these types of tools. Not many people using the market conditions by DAT, which is awesome, and you must use that tool. And well, that basically it. I do have generating report. This will be another video for another day, obviously, or the live stream training. I don't know if you guys like it. I know they're averaging about like 10 people watching. Let me know what your thoughts. Just give me whatever the questions you might have. I'll come to take a couple of questions about the DAT. Don't worry that I was focusing on the training. It's not related, obviously, to this, but hey, whatever the question you might have, I'll do my best to help. So you asked me, let me come back here so that I can take your questions. And again, this is the time, I think it will be the Q&A. This is where we'll take questions, and we'll take from there. Man, I was talking for how long now? Let me see. Oh, wow, a little more than. Okay, cool. Love it. Awesome. Now, let me take this question, and then we'll take it from there. Can I get DAT access with just DOT? What you can definitely, I can log into DAT, and I will show you something while I'm talking. So let me do this, and I will share my screen with you. There are a lot of DAT. Let me log in, and then I will show you something amazing. You can have access to DAT, but hear me out. They're changing stuff around. I'll show you what will be. There is something happening in Q1. So if you wanted to know that, just stick with me. I'll share it with you. So currently, what you need to do, you need to bring. Man, it's not my game when I talk and I work. Let me do this real quick. Be patient with me, please. Okay. I'll log in, and I'll show you something what's happening inside the DAT. So now, okay, cool. Logged in. Awesome. I'll show you. DAT changed a lot of things. Like, let me go to search, and I'll share my screen with you. Just bear with me. There you go. Awesome. Let me share my screen, and I'll come back to this question. So let's do this. Let me remove this, add this, go to share my screen with you. I want to share the load board. Okay. Now, this is the DAT. This is the screen that I wanted to share with you. There you go. Awesome. Now, this is DAT, obviously. Now, if you are a dispatcher, what you can do, let me pull this so you can, I'll make it bigger so you can see it. There you go. So, see what's happening now? Look at this one. You're missing broker requirements. Why is that? And I will talk more about this. So I have dispatcher version of the DAT, so to speak. But this is exact load board that carriers will see with this MC DOT number, but we as dispatchers, let's say, will see only this. I have access to DAT, but I don't have no MC, no DOT, if you will. And what brokers see on their end, that hey, this dispatcher, obviously it's a dispatch company, and we don't want to work with dispatching company. That means these brokers, I can't see it, but I can see like the rate, the age, whatever, but I don't see exactly, well, I don't even see the rate, but basically the origin and destination. But I don't see the company name and then contact information. Why I don't see company information? Well, because these people know that I'm a dispatch company. In some brokerage companies, they don't want to deal with dispatching companies, although it's getting more popular among these brokers, and they want to work with dispatchers. But hey, some brokers, they don't, but ignore them anyway. Why? Well, because there's a ton of money to be made with other brokers as well. Now, to your question, let me pull again. If you have questions, please let me know. So DAT, this one. So when you said, can I access with just the DOT number? Be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if you have just the DOT, can you have access? But I think it's more of a MC. Why MC? Because to your MC, your insurance or your carriers, or let's put aside the carrier and put aside the dispatcher. Let's talk about how the system works. There is an MC number, and then there's an insurance policy attached to MC, and that's why brokers wanted to see MC. Obviously, DAT wanted to make money. The more users they have, better. But since load boards designed specifically for brokers, I mean it. Yes, it's specifically designed for brokers in mind. Why? Well, because they do have money, and obviously carriers, they don't care, working with shippers anyway. Well, let me take back. They wanted to work with direct shippers, but maybe they're like, man, it's easy for me to just log into my load board and just search loads, and I let the dispatchers talk to this broker, and I'll just focus on my business. That's all I want, and that's all I care, right? That's basically what's happening with the carriers. But brokers, because they do sales and marketing and everything, and obviously these tech companies like DAT, Truck Stop, and 123 Load Board, they'll be like, man, we need to tap into brokerage market, right? Brokers have money and carriers don't. Well, maybe carriers, they do have money, but what I realized, they're not using too many tools in their businesses. But what I realized when I was traveling Central Asia, more specifically Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, what I realized that people, they use tools, and that's one of the reasons why they're successful. They're using tools, right? So if you're not using tools, then obviously you're losing a lot of money. I met a lot of people in the US. They're like, have you used this tool called X, Y, and Z, whatever, CRM or anything like that? I'm like, no. Well, why am I asking this question? Because this person doesn't even have a website, right? It's like, that's the true reality, obviously, how these carriers right now operate. It's crazy. Okay, now coming back to your question, brokers wanted to see that you have MC. Why? Well, because they get load from a shipper, and the shipper wanted to see that, hey, my load is secure. So there's an insurance involved. And if you don't have an MC, that basically tells a broker that you don't have insurance. So if you don't have insurance, I don't want to work with you, right? So I'm assuming no, but I'm not saying that. I'm assuming no, meaning you can't access with DOT, but you can call a DAT and ask them if, maybe they can help you with that. But 99% of the time, I'm like pretty sure that they won't let you in. So now, what's the news? The good news? The good news, I'm working directly with the DAT, and I'm pushing so hard. And then inside my community, I share this, all my emails, all the communication, everything. And I just keep updating them saying that, hey, we have a good news. I have a lot of dispatchers. I train a lot of dispatchers. What we need, if you remember back in 2021, there was a person, awesome human being. Her name was Sarah Allen, awesome human being. I also did a live training with her. We pushed with Sarah Allen. Sarah Allen was working with DAT. And I was like training a lot of people. They're like, man, we need DAT access, but we can't because we don't have MC, no DOT. And if you remember, we came up with the process called self-sign-up process. And I shared the email, and you can go and watch that video with Sarah Allen. It's still in this channel. So what happened? There was obviously hackers attacked, whatever, things happened, bad things happened, things can happen. Then DAT removed that self-sign-up process. Basically, what was it? For those of you who don't know, self-sign-up process was, let me come back and then I'll just, close this and I can talk to you guys. So self-sign-up form was just basically you go there, DAT, and you put your information like, company name, whatever. And where it says DAT, what's your MC, what's your DOT? You there's a drop-down menu, you just click on it and it says, let's say, I'm a dispatcher or something like that. You click on that, that's it, you pay. Now you have the account. But then they stopped doing that. Now, what I'm trying to say, DAT was dispatcher friendly. Then they became like non-dispatcher friendly, right? So now we focus really on dispatchers. And carriers pushing also saying that, hey, I'm working. Now it's more common. Carriers working with independent freight dispatchers. Man, last 6-7 months, what I realized, talking to carriers, what I realized that they really prefer working with independent freight dispatchers, specifically independent freight dispatchers. I'm not talking about the virtual assistant or something like that. Hey, there's a company and these people have, 50, 60. And that was one of the reasons why I visited Tashkent and, I was in Kazakhstan. And then those are the people working independently, having hundreds of people dispatching trucks, basically. So, and now they're becoming dispatcher friendly again, because carriers were like, hey, we need to have dispatching companies have access to this. By the way, now you can access DAT right now as a dispatcher if you have a carrier. That means if you have a carrier, you can call your carrier and say this, hey, I want sub-account. It's not, hey, share login information with me, share your DOT account with me. No. Don't do that. You'll scare your carrier. Don't do that. Well, ask for the sub-account, because DAT allows you to do that. Basically, if I'm a carrier and you are a dispatcher, you calling me and saying, hey, Prime Express, I need a sub-account, I'll pay for it. And sub-account, if I'm paying, let's say this is the tool that I have right now is DAT1 Select, which is $200, maybe a little more. By the way, DAT increased the price for the load boards, but let's call it $200. But if I'm, let's say, giving you the sub account, this will be about like $100 or something like that, right? So you have your own account. That means primary account, then sub account. This, like DAT, basically don't want to lose their revenue. So by doing that, they have secured, because they have a carrier, and because of the carrier, they have MC, and obviously they have a helper, which is dispatcher. Hey, if carrier doesn't make money, he can't pay his bills. And DAT knows that. And DAT doesn't want to lose carriers, because it's lost revenue, right? Hundreds of carriers, obviously, not paying or can't pay. Well, imagine even $200. Yes, carriers even can't pay tools that they're subscribed for. Be honest with you, it's a struggle. It's a real struggle right now. So what they're doing right now, they're shifting the gears a little bit. So when I talked about, we had a meeting with the DAT, and we pushed this idea that, hey, dispatchers should have access. But here's the problem: they can give you access right now, no problem. But the thing is, I want you to understand this, very important if you're a dispatcher. They said that, hey, Kamal, we can definitely give access to your students or whatever, the dispatchers out there. Yes, you're a dispatcher advocate, whatever. We understand that. We want to give access to your dispatchers, no problem. But here's the deal. Your dispatcher in, I don't know, in somewhere around the world will have one account and it will pay $200. We'll be dispatching multiple carriers. But single load board, one account, you can allow by law. That's what they said. Don't argue with me because I don't know how the system works, right? So with the regulation, whatever. And I said, okay, one load board, specifically like one dispatcher. But what if I have multiple, carriers? What if I have 15 carriers and each carrier has about 10, 15 trucks? How am I manage that? And he said, that's the problem we have. Like, that is the biggest problem DAT has. So there's no specific way for them to kind of capture that revenue because they wanted to get money from each of my carrier. If I have 10 different carriers, they want to make money from those carriers as well. How? Well, remember I said primary account, sub-account? Remember I said they shifting the gears around? Now you become the primary care account and your you become a primary care account. Your carrier becomes your sub-account. Why is that? Well, in the case of carrier, if doesn't want to work with you and he closes his account, you lost access to DAT. It's gone, right? But now I'm like, okay, so we have two problems. Like dispatchers dispatching multiple trucks, that's a problem because it's a lost revenue for DAT. How am I going to fix that? Or how we are going to fix that? Let's brainstorm. We had a meeting with the DAT, and obviously there is a guy, his name's Hans. I shared this, online, and specifically in my community. And he said, okay, that's one. But the second is this the sign up flow. How that flow, like we need to understand like how these dispatchers are using it. Imagine I'm using this load board. I'll be like switching back and forth carrier, number one or carrier number two. Imagine I have 50 carriers and I'm dispatching. Yes, every single carrier should have its own account. But that's the challenge. It was like, okay, how we're going to fix? I said, listen, we'll have one account. Okay, that's the deal I'm sharing with you. So we'll have one account. I'll see here. Then in drop down menu on my right side, I will have my carrier. So I will just click switch, and then I can switch real quick, and then it will obviously load quickly the whatever the search results that I have for that specific carrier. Imagine. Let me share my screen real quick, and I'll show it. Now, let me share this with you. Let me close this. And you do guys have a lot of questions. Oh, that's good. Okay, cool. Now, you said, let me take this and I'll show it to you. Now, imagine this. On the right side, right corner, this is where I'm at. See, like somewhere over here. There is a drop-down menu. Okay? And imagine this is the carrier. Let's say this is the Prime Express. That's the carrier. See how I search for Prime Express? See how I do zones? Well, because this carrier is different. This carrier, it's very different than other carriers. Okay. Now I do, yes, different tabs. Okay. I can say, okay, I'm searching from Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas. But when I switch to, let's say, ABC trucking, and it will load a different, search results for me. Right. I'm not going into like every single time putting like origin and destination. So this is what I have. Specific template, if you will. So if I have 10 carriers, I'll be like, okay, I'm done with the Prime Express. Boom. I select right corner, somewhere over here, right? Drop down menu, and there is a, let's ABC trucking, whatever. Swift Logistics, whatever, or trucking. So now I'm looking loads specifically for this, carrier. Or forget about MC number. you will use just one single load, no drop down menu, nothing like that. You're looking at just one single load, but you become a primary account holder, and every single carrier comes beneath you. They will have sub account. Imagine me as a, let's say, dispatch trucks as a dispatching agency. I will have let's say 10 trucks or 10 carriers. Okay, so 10 carriers. Why? Because one single carrier can have just one truck or can have multiple trucks. Just 10 carriers, not the trucks, different. Okay, 10 trucks different than 10 carriers, because one carrier might have thousands of trucks. So now I have 10 carriers beneath me, okay, or under me. So now primary account dispatch trucks, there's a Prime Express, this is ABC Logistics, all of these people under my account. So if the Prime Express leaves me, boom, cancel, go, right? But I still have the primary account. I can have access, no problem. I can still dispatch these people, right? So the problem with this, well, it's a brilliant idea. Let's do that. But then how DAT is going to capture that revenue? Can I trust you as a dispatcher that you won't lie, that you have multiple carriers? Because there's absolutely no way for a DAT knowing like how many carriers you dispatch. That's the number one question mark. That's the challenge that they have. Otherwise, they would allow you no problem using, because they need money, right? They want to make money, and they know that you will be paying, subscription. But then that's the challenge they have. So coming back to your question, kind of long, but then I was trying my best to explain. So I hope this helps. I don't think you can sign up with it, DOT, but contact DAT and see what they say. Now, I'm a dispatcher. I'm learning. Cool. Awesome. Love it. Great. So what we have really sounds like a great product. Great. Okay. So we have Derek. Definitely a great product. Sounds pretty good. Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. Now, what about this? But I want DOT not for a dispatching, just for research purposes. Well, be honest with you, I don't know. If you wanted to do researching, no idea, be honest with you. So it can't help you there. Like what we have here, like market tool. Oh, so you mean market conditions by DAT? Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely, do that. Or you can contact DAT and ask them for a demo, and they will do demo. But I do have a video that I did here on, this channel. Maybe you're asking about like how to use it, or I want to go and use it. Maybe that's the case. Kind of when you first look at the market conditions by DAT, it's kind of overwhelming. That is the number one tool. It basically gives you everything. Like me, instead of like looking into loads, I really want to look into market conditions first, plan strategically, then push your trucks and then make money that way. Okay, so why not sub account for carriers? Dispatcher have registered different. Yeah, that's what we talked about, right? So absolutely, no practice. What I learn from you. No practice. What I learned from you. Awesome, great. Well, I think that pretty much it. If you guys have questions, please let me know. I think other than that, we are. Yeah, I think we did great job executing the plan, I think, right? I think we did that. Yeah, the only thing we had, let's talk. We did the questions, and thank you for joining and asking these questions. I hope you guys liked it. And next live stream will be the next feature that I talked about in this live stream. There will be email connecting to the app and then automatically extracting the history of, let's say you want to go back 12 months and then extract all the data. We'll see the process, how this app is working, all that good stuff. And I'll put the link, and you can test it out for yourself and see, and then you can definitely take it from there. Guys, thank you so much for all of your questions, support, and everything in between. Love you guys. Thank you.